Have you ever thought about an activity that you think is really, really cool, but you would definitely never do in your life? There are two to come to mind directly, and they're kind of like polar opposites. One is skydiving, and the other is scuba diving. I just think with scuba diving, I'm not a very good swimmer, so I'm just not terrified of the ocean, but I definitely don't want to, put myself in an area or a place where I am not thriving. And then skydiving, basically the same thing. I you are controlled to an extent, but going very fast, and that kind of terrifies me. So, anyways, hello everybody. This is That Manga Dude, and welcome to the good old-fashioned 2024 holiday shopping guide. Yes, sirree, boss. We are about a month out from one of the biggest holidays in the United States, as Christmas. But the holidays are really meant as a time to be like gift giving and to celebrate family and friends and everything like that. So, I am going to be giving all of my suggestions for manga for people to pick up this holiday season, whether it's for yourself, whether it's for family, whether it's for friends. These are going to be split up by genres and various other things, so you'll kind of see how this is going to go as we make it through the video. So yeah, let's get started right now. Okay, so the first genre I'm going to be talking about, and I'm going to be only recommending, for the most part, volumes and series that began in 2024. So if you're expecting things like, One Piece, or series that have been releasing for a long time or have been releasing for a couple years now, you're not going to see it here, except for at the end where I'm going to have two series that are continuing that I think genuinely you should pick up. But for our first section, we have ourselves the action genre. So action is very broad, obviously, but these three are more action-oriented than any other part of their genre. So there's going to be a lot more just that kind of stuff. There's a lot of drama with two of them, and I will talk about that when we get to it. So first up, Search and Destroy from Atsushi Kaneko. This one is such a flippin' cool manga. Really great action scenes, an extremely unique style, definitely influenced by Western comics. So if your person that you're buying for is a big fan of comics, of Western comics specifically, then I think this is a great introduction to manga. But in general, it's just got some really great action scenes, fantastic lettering as well, and it just looks really good. This whole entire release from Fantagraphics and Manga Explaining X. Definitely worth a pickup if you are a fan of the action genre. Alright, up next, we got ourselves Gokura Kugai from Yuto Sano. I'm going to try to explain some of the stories as we move on, but some of them I don't want to explain because I just don't want to spoil it. But Gokura Kugai features these two here who run kind of like a detective agency in a way, and they solve these troubles and mysteries for various people. So it's very action-packed, it's a lot of fun, the character designs are great, the action scenes are solid as well. One of the best female leads in a shonen/seinen series to come out this year, so really, really cool. Yeah, this one's a fun one. I don't know exactly where the story is going to be going as of yet. We currently have 3 volumes out in English, so definitely give this a shot. It's a lot of fun. And last but not least, for the action genre, this one is associated with a video game series, and that is Watch Dogs Tokyo from Seiichi Shirato and Shuhei Kamo. You do not need to have played the Watch Dogs games in order to enjoy this series. This one is a ton of fun. A lot of great little mysteries already built up within the first 2 volumes out already. The action is a ton of fun. The visuals are gorgeous. A lot of great character designs and a lot of great movement as well throughout this first volume and within the second volume as well. If you're looking for kind of a more of a dystopian kind of hacker oriented action series, definitely give this one a shot. This one's a lot of fun. Okay, going into our next section, we have ourselves the action comedies. So I have 2 for you. That is going to be first, Marriage Toxin from Jom Yaku and Mizuki Yoda. This currently has 4 volumes out in English as of the time of this recording. And this one's pretty silly, it's pretty fun. Follows a story about this guy here who is the leader of the poison assassin family. So his whole family uses poison tactics to take out their targets. But now he needs to find a wife in order for his sister to be able to enjoy her life with her future wife. He needs to find a wife so that he can become the true head of the family. The problem is that our main character is absolutely terrible at socializing and just becoming I don't know, just talking to people in general. So he ends up meeting this con artist here, who is going to basically help him become a better bachelor, in order to find someone who may or may not love him. It is very silly. It's really goofy, but man, the action is super cool. The story is pretty solid as well, with some great characters. So I highly suggest this one if you are a fan of action comedies. And how could I talk about action comedies without talking about The Fable from Katsuhisa Minami? There are currently 3 omnibuses out as of the time of this recording, and this one is absolutely silly, but it follows a story about this guy here who is known as The Fable. He's like a super infamous assassin, who's known for basically just ruthlessly killing anybody who he's like assigned to or such associated with. Basically, it comes to a point where they do not need his services. He needs to lie low for 1 year. So him and his accomplice go off and live in a different city for a year and attempt to not bring the light upon them. But yeah, he's really bad at doing that because he's just a really strange, weird guy. And the girl person, like the girl accomplice, is also like kind of like just a scheming, kind of a messed up person. They're all messed up, but like. The series is extremely goofy. It has more of a realistic style, which I know can be hit or miss for some people, but I think this one is done very, very well. There's a lot of hilarious moments throughout the first omnibus, as well as in the second one. I have not actually read the third one, but for sure, definitely worth a pickup if you're looking for a great action comedy. Alright, coming into the mystery genre, we have 3 here, and they're all very, very different, and I'll explain why. So first up, we have My Dear Detective Mitsuko's Case Files. This currently only has 1 volume out. This is from Natsumi Ito, but this is a really lovely series following the story about this lady here, who's living in a time in Japan where women are seen as like basically childbearers, home makers, and that's all. They're not meant to have a career. They're meant to be for the home and for the children. But she has become a detective because that's what she's always wanted to be, and so she's trying to prove people wrong that women can be just as successful as men. So it's actually a lot of fun. Honestly, there's a lot of great little mysteries. This is more of like a cozy mystery, so there's not going to be a lot of like, oh, murder, at least not yet. I don't know, maybe there will be. But it's not like murder mystery. So this one's a lot of fun. Great characters, beautiful costume designs. You could tell the artist put a lot of time and effort into researching what outfits were looking like at the time. So this is a really great one. So if you're looking for kind of like a historical fiction mystery, this one is great. Alright, up next, this one is Last Quarter from Aizawa. So this currently has 1 volume out, and it is remarkable. There's going to be, I think, 2 volumes total for this series, but this one's a really, really great mystery. Basically follows a story about this girl who's in high school, who's like who's basically like kind of like a dropout in a way. She ends up meeting this man who plays the guitar, and after they've had their little kind of fun and almost like lovey-doveyness, he has to leave back to wherever he's going, which is presumed to be England. And he's like, if you meet me back where we first met, I'll take you with me. And then some bad things happen, is the best way to put it, and she wakes up in a completely white space with a gate in the middle where she meets this girl. And suddenly the story changes, and now we're following the girl, and the girl must now find out who was that person and what is going on. It is very, very well written. It's Aizawa, so you can expect that whenever you read one of her series. But this one is particularly just very interesting. A lot of complex moments going on here, a lot of great character development even within the first volume. I just think it's really good. It got me with a huge plot twist, and I totally fell for it. And yeah, it's just a really, really great series, and I'm super excited to continue reading it, and I'd highly suggest, if you like mysteries, to check this one out. Alright, so the final mystery series is going to be King in Limbo from Ai Tanaka. This is an absolutely remarkable mystery series. It follows a story about these 2 here who are trying to find the cause of a disease that was supposedly eradicated years ago, and he helped develop the cure. It's this kind of like sleeping / nightmare disease, and yeah, it's really crazy. There's a lot of conspiracy theory-ness within this series, and mystery is fantastic. The character designs are awesome. The action's really, really good. Some great posing and just really great paneling as well. Just overall, what a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful release, and I really wish I could find that last volume, which is volume 3, but for some reason it's just been completely gone off the shelves, so hopefully I can find one soon. Alright, so coming into our next section here, I called this the adult slice of life. There were a lot of really good adult slice of life series to release in 2024, and the first of those three for me is going to be Smoking Behind the Supermarket with You from Janushi. This one is an absolute, just a really fun, light series with some pretty great moments in terms of the comedy and stuff. There are currently 3 volumes out at the time of this recording, but it follows a story about this guy who is an overworked businessman and is just struggling through his days, but his kind of like solace is this one woman who he meets at a grocery store / convenience store, supermarket, whatever you want to call it. And so he's like, that's what he looks forward to in the day. Then one day she's not there, and this other lady here who looks a lot like her, but it's definitely not her, wink wink nudge nudge, and she's smoking behind the supermarket, and she's like, hey, you want to smoke with me? So it's about them developing their friendship / relationship. It's kind of silly, but it's a lot of fun. Like, the character moments are great. I don't know, it's just overall, it's just a really good read. And like I said, if you like adult slice of life, definitely check this one out. And number 2 for that section, we have ourselves Sketchy from Maki Hirochi. This is a skateboarding manga. Follows a story about this girl who works at or this woman who works at a like a movie store, and she's kind of like trying to find her way through life because her friends are all like successful or whatever, like, oh, they're getting married, they're looking at having kids, and she's still here kind of like just trying to figure life out. But one day she ends up seeing some skateboarders, and she gets inspired to start skateboarding herself. So now she's found a new passion in life. It's a really just great read. There are currently 4 volumes out for this one in English, and definitely just worth the read in general. Some good art, really great like moments, and I think they explain skateboarding in a nice, easy way to consume. So you're not feeling overwhelmed if you don't know anything about skating. But for people who do skate, it is a nice like read, and just like kind of refreshing to see a more accurate representation of how to learn how to skateboard. So overall, I thought this one was great, and it, like I said, it features an older, I say older, but she's not that old. She's like around my age. So yeah, it's just overall, it's just a really great series about skateboarding. And last but not least, for the adult slice of life, we have ourselves Hirayasumi from Keigo Shinzo. This currently has 3 volumes out, and it is so good. What an absolutely just remarkable, beautiful, fantastic series. But it basically follows the story here about this. I believe he's supposed to be 29 at the beginning of the story, but he ends up inheriting this house from an old woman that he became friends with, and she passes away, and she hands down the house to him. So it's about him kind of living his life, just living life pretty freely, not really thinking about the consequences or problems that are going on around him. And then one day, his cousin or niece, it's one of the two, I believe it's his cousin, is going to move in with him because she's going to start art college in the city, and she's from kind of like more of a country town. So it's about both of them kind of struggling and just figuring out, it's a coming of age story for both of them. One trying to figure out the grief that has already occurred and how he's trying to get over that, and her struggling with kind of imposter syndrome and entering this new large big gigantic city that she's never really been used to, and just trying to figure herself out. It is really good. Some great character moments, some beautiful, there's just a lot of beautiful moments. It gets me it gets me emotional because like I totally feel her struggle as a former art student. I just understand her feelings of imposter syndrome and just kind of struggling with coming to such a big city. I just really like this series quite a bit, and you should give it a shot if you like adult slice of life. Alright, up next, I didn't know where to put this one, but this is a really good series that's been coming out, and that is going to be Bless from Yukino Sonoyama. This currently has 3 volumes out in English, but it's a really great series, focusing a lot on like makeup and modeling. The makeup is done really well. There's some really beautiful moments, and I think it really describes and explains makeup in a very easy way. Like I was saying with Sketchy, a very easy way for people who don't know anything about makeup, aka me, to understand how much like goes into it. Like, it's very intricate. There's a lot that goes into it, and I just think it does it really well. And the characters are endearing, and you just want to root for them as they're proceeding into their new careers or their new passions. It's just really good. And overall, I just really like the story, and I love the characters, and I can't wait to keep reading it. And I'd highly suggest, if you're looking for something a little bit different, I think this is really good. Alright, up next we have ourselves the post-apocalyptic / action series. I kind of put these together because they are very different once again, but they're all kind of within this kind of like dystopian / post-apocalyptic era, or what do you want to call it. So first up, we have ourselves Full Night from Kasumi Yasuda. There are currently 2 volumes out in English, and this one is just an absolutely fascinating and remarkable read. Follows a story about this guy here who lives in this world where there is no sun. It is completely black. So the only way they are able to get like any kind of oxygen, because there any kind of like things that they would typically get if there was a sun, is by this thing known as transfloration, which is a procedure that turns you into a plant after, I believe it's a year or 2 years. And after a extremely terrible situation happens to him, he ends up getting the procedure, and now he's kind of living his life, attempting to figure out what he's going to do with the rest of his life, what he's going to do with the money, because with the procedure you get like a huge lump sum, and now he's like trying to understand life, trying to understand himself, while all of this like extra little mysteries and stuff like that, as he gets hired to join this like team that is kind of like trying to look into various phenomena that are going on in the world. It's really, really good. The art is probably my favorite out of all the series that I've talked about. This probably has some of my favorite art to date. It's really, really gorgeous. It can also be very grotesque at points, but overall, I just really like it. It's really cool, and the action is great when it is going on. Alright, up next, for more of like a just gritty, ridiculous action series, we have ourselves Tank Chair from Manabu Yashido. This is only 1 volume at this point, but it is absolutely ridiculous, but super duper fun. Follows a story about this guy here who's currently in a comatose state, but will wake up when there is a killer instinct around him. So it's about him and his sister trying to survive and make money so that they could try to find a way to get him out of his comatose state. It's ridiculous, it's stupid, but man, is it so much fun. Like, the action is ridiculous, like I said. The story is actually really well thought out. There's some pretty interesting things that kind of go into each of the chapters, especially within the first volume, and it leaves you really, really wanting more as you finish up this volume. So, really excited to keep reading this one. Highly suggest if you like post-apocalyptic action, especially a la Mad Max, I would say give this a shot. And last but not least, this one is Snowball Earth from Yuhiro Tsujisugu. There are currently 3 volumes out for this series, and it follows the story here of this guy who is like the hero of the world, or is supposed to be the hero of the world, and it's his goal to defend the world with his giant robot. But after a mission goes awry, his robot sacrifices itself in order to save him, in order to stop the alien invasion as well. So he goes into like a cryo sleep, eventually wakes up 12 years later, and he's like super excited to say, hello everybody, we did it, we beat the world. But once he gets out of his little pod, boom baby, it's completely frozen. It's just snow everywhere. So now he has to try and figure out what is going on. Did the aliens win? Where is his robot? Like, did the robot survive in any form or sense of the word? And is there anybody else alive? It's very interesting. I love the action. I love like the story has already been built up. There's some really great mysteries that haven't been truly explained yet, which is great. You kind of like the pacing is great as well. So overall, this one is very, very good. If you're looking for more of a traditional post-apocalyptic series, this one is very, very good. Alright, coming into our next section, this is kind of just like a bunch of random genres and other things, so I will be talking about them, of course. Let's see, we're going to start with fantasy. So first up is In the Name of the Mermaid Princess from Yoshina Fumikawa and Miya Tashiro. This one is just a really, really good fantasy read. Follows a story about this girl here who is a mermaid, but lives in a kingdom that is racist towards monsters, or whatever they call them. But basically, anything that's non-human. I think they're called them subhumans, if I remember correctly. But basically, so she is the kingdom's princess. So they're trying to come up with like a cure so that she can become human or whatever like that. But after she meets the prince that she's going to get married to, sort of, or kind of meets like the what's it called, the secretary in a way. The secretary is like, oh yeah, the prince is great, blah blah, like he totally loves you, la da da da. And then after something goes awry, she escapes and is now trying to kind of live her life and trying to find a way to prove that like the non-humans are just as like just as deserving of rights as any other human. It's actually pretty interesting. I think the kingdom and like the political like drama that goes on is really, really well done, and I just love the art. These are some of the best covers and spines you're gonna find that came out this year. But yeah, overall this one's been pretty solid, and I think there is 4 volumes, I believe. I'll make sure to write it if I'm wrong. But yeah, it's a really great series. Definitely give it a shot. Another fantasy series, this one just came out. This one is Colette Decides to Die from Alto Yukimura. Yeah, very, 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 very good. You know, I wasn't expecting to put this on my list because I didn't know how I was going to feel about it, but you know what? It's deserving of all the praise it gets. Follows the story of Colette here, who is an apothecary, basically someone who is kind of like a medicine man / woman in her town, and she has kind of reached her limit. She's exhausted, she's tired, she doesn't want to do this anymore, so she jumps down a well in a way because she is supposedly hears that like this is like a tunnel to the underworld, and lo and behold, it actually is. So now she becomes the apothecary for Hades. Yes, the Greek god Hades, and it's pretty fun. I don't know. I think it's pretty interesting to kind of see how existential it can get in a way, and like kind of like how many different themes there are, especially about overwork and things like that. I think it's done very, very well. The art is really, really nice, and there's some great characters. You meet quite a few different like Greek gods and Greek characters. So if you're looking for that kind of stuff, like kind of like a Greek mythology, this one is really great and definitely worth the read. And last but not least, for the fantasy, this is a historical fantasy that just got a re-release, and I highly suggest picking it up. And that is going to be Red River from Chie Shinohara. This is volumes 1 through 3, and is currently the only omnibus out. But man, this is a fantastic series. It follows the story of this girl here, Yuri, who basically gets taken and pulled into the Hittite Empire, where now she must fight for her life as the queen is trying to get her killed, because the queen wants to use her special blood or whatever to make her son the king of the kingdom. And yeah, it's crazy. It's a ton of fun. Definitely has a very old school feel to it, but that doesn't detract from how like exciting and interesting the series is. It has some really good art, some really great action, just great characters across the board. Highly suggest if you're looking for a historical political drama fantasy. Alright, going into sports, we have ourselves one series that is going to be Metalist. There are currently 5 volumes out for Metalist in English from Suru Maikala. This is an absolutely beautiful, remarkable series. I've talked about it at length on this channel because it's just so good. But it follows the story about this girl here who's always wanted to become an ice skater, become a gold medalist for Japan. But she's kind of started at a much older age than most people usually start for ice skating. So everyone keeps telling her, oh, you can't do this, you can't do it, you have to have started earlier, you're never going to make it to the top, blah blah blah. But she ends up meeting a coach who also started ice skating late and ended up becoming pretty successful, but it's currently like down on his luck. So it's kind of like about this like kind of like lame duck pairing that it's out to prove everybody wrong, that anybody can become like a medalist like for ice skating. So it's really inspirational. The art is great, the characters are awesome, just some really beautiful moments across the board. Man, it's just so good. Especially if you like sports series, you should definitely give this one a shot. Alright, now we're coming into the romance series slash rom-coms. So first up, we have ourselves Let's Do It Already from Aki Kusaka. There are currently 2 volumes out for this very silly series, but it follows the story about these two who are now officially in a relationship, but he is a part of a very famous like family, so he has some very strict rules about what they can do, and she just wants to hug and hang out and maybe kiss him a little bit. Oh my gosh. But so it's about them trying to navigate their very difficult relationship, not necessarily by their factors, but kind of a lot of external factors. But it's really cute, it's really silly, it's really funny, and I love it a lot. The characters are extremely endearing and very fun. It's just really fun to watch their relationship grow and also just kind of like go through waves of what the heck is going on. But highly suggest if you're looking for a very fun and silly rom-com. And yes, the title may seem like a lot raunchier than you would expect, but it's not that raunchy, just saying. It might be later, but not right now. All right, up next, the girl she was interested in wasn't a guy at all. From the guy she was interested in, excuse me, wasn't a guy at all. From Sumiko Arai. There's only one volume, but man, it is so good. It's just worth the pickup if you like romance slash rom-com slash slice of life slash school life series. Follows a story about this girl here who's totally smitten with this guy that she saw working at the record store that she visited, and lo and behold, what she doesn't know is the record store guy is actually a girl and her classmate. So it's about them kind of developing their friendship. It's going to be very much a slow burn romance, but it's so worth the read. It's really good, and it has such a unique and beautiful style because it incorporates the green within this entire series. So definitely give it a shot. It's really good. Alright, up next, this one is I See Your Face Turned Away from Rumi Ichinohe. This currently has 3 volumes out in English, and it is just really beautiful. It follows a story about these four kids who are kind of all in like a variety of different feelings towards each other, whether it's friendships, like inspirational, or want to be in a relationship and stuff like that. It's just really nice. It's extremely well written, some great art as well, and you just gonna get really emotional with all the characters. So I kind of like how it's told from various perspectives of the different characters. You get 2 of the perspectives, or at least like 1.5 in this first volume, and in the future volumes you get it from other people's perspectives as well. So yeah, really liking this series, and definitely give this one a shot if you're looking for more of like a romantic drama series. Alright, for the magical girl genre, we have ourselves Magi Lumiere, Magical Girls Incorporated from Seka Iwata and Yu Aoki. This currently has 4 volumes out in English, and it is just an absolute fun romp. Follows a story about this girl here who is struggling to find a job, even though she basically does all her research. She is like the ideal candidate, but for some reason she just cannot find a job. So she ends up joining a kind of like an indie magical, or like a smaller business for magical girls, which are like the big thing right now, trying to defeat these monsters and stuff like that. So she ends up becoming a magical girl herself, and it's just a lot of fun. It's really great. The characters are awesome. Very solid art, and kind of like an interesting take on the magical girl genre. Not that it's the first time we've seen tech used within magical girl stuff, but it is one of the first in a bit of time, especially for like a shonen slash seinen series. Yeah, it's cool to see, and it's a lot of fun. I don't know, I think it's worth definitely giving it a shot if you like magical girl series. Alright, and if you're looking for something very existential, this one is one of my personal favorites from the year, and that is Tokyo These Days from Taya Matsumoto. There are 3 volumes total for this series, and they are all released at this point, so definitely give this one a shot if you're looking for something very existential. Basically, it follows a story about this former manga editor who quits his job suddenly, and is trying to navigate his life after this, realizing that that manga is so important to him that he ends up trying to create this like unique manga magazine featuring all of the artists that he basically previously worked with or previously knew. So it's a very interesting read. It gets very deep and complex. I think there's a lot of interesting themes that are tackled within the series from start to finish, and I think they all get resolved in a nice way. I think overall, if you like Taya Matsumoto's work, or just in general, if you're looking for something a little bit different, I would highly suggest checking this one out. Alright, and now to feature 2 series that are currently still releasing, but not from 2024, but highly suggest picking them up because they're just really good. I have Usitoki Rhetoric from Ritsu Miyako and Kowloon Generic Romance from Jun Miyazuki. These 2 series have been featured on my channel quite a bit, and for good reason. Usitoki Rhetoric is a fantastic mystery series, just has a lot of great mystery in general, and some pretty cool little supernatural moments as well within it. Just makes for a really fun and unique read. I think it's just really good. And Jun Miyazuki is a fantastic like mystery drama series following a story about this girl here who lives in the walled city of Kowloon, but something's always just a little bit off. It's also just absolutely fantastic. It's probably one of my favorite series currently releasing in general, and I would highly suggest giving it a shot. So, yep, that's going to be it for the 2024 holiday shopping guide. Did you see any manga that you now want to pick up for someone or pick up for yourself? Let me know in the comments below. Were there any series that you think people should pick up for the holiday season, for their people, for themselves? Let me know in the comments below as well. And you know what to do. You can like, you can comment, you can subscribe. Those are all amazing things. I really appreciate appreciate it when you do that. It is so awesome. And yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.